Hey, Fighter Jet family. Hey. Oh, man, oh, man. So, look. I am hopping on because y'all already know I'm not consistent with posting no videos or nothing because I do it based off of my, based off of being called. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody got time to be doing stuff because you gotta do it? No, I'm doing it because I feel called to do it. So I am on. Hey, Malik, good to see you. So I am on because I'm feeling called to, and I think what's really calling me is what's usually calling me is my own personal issues, my own personal problems. And when I'm going through it, that's when I'm like, yo, let me get up here. Because I know I'm not the only one that's going through it. It's like when I feel at my lowest, when I feel my weakest, when I feel, you know what I'm saying? God dog it. I'm cutting onions and I just dropped the whole thing on the floor. When I feel like that, that's when I be like, you know what, let me go ahead. Because somebody else is struggling. It's not just me. So I want to share something recently that I realized about myself. A long time ago, I won't say that long ago, but a while ago, I was saying when my son, when I was pregnant with my son, I was going through, and he's 9 years old now. Oh my gosh. So I was going through a tough time. I was a program director for a mental health agency, counseling agency. And right before that, I was a program manager for another mental health agency, right? And these were privately owned, so we ain't have no benefits, and you know, it sounds good. Oh, program director, program manager. That's what I was, absolutely, but that was just the title. It did not come with no perks. It came with a lot of stress. And like I said, that was probably about 9-10 years ago at this point. And that's coming up because I remember how stressed I was. I was so stressed back then that I got to a point where I was struggling with insomnia. Like, I had never had insomnia. Like, what? I could go to sleep. But no, baby, no. I was so stressed all the time that it got to the point where I just couldn't even sleep good at night. I was in a constant state of fight or flight, constantly like adrenaline up, constantly putting out fires in their business, constantly dealing with stuff like dealing with Medicaid and things that I just did not feel equipped to deal with, but I was in the position to do it. I'm managing all these adults, big old grown adults. I'm managing them. And at the first job, that was my first time being a manager. And I was in that big management position. And it was just like so much drama and stuff that was happening at these locations, at both locations. I'm saying it like I worked both of them at the same time. Let me slow down. I worked one, and then I left there because of how bad things had got with drama and issues. And then I went to another one, and I was the program director at that company, and that carried a whole lot of issues. So I'm speaking about both of them together because as far as my life is concerned, that was a whole period of my life where I was going through it, and my stress level had got so bad that it turned into me not even being able to sleep at night. I mean, I would lay in the bed and I could not go to sleep no matter how hard I tried. I would just lay there and be like scrunched up, body tight, and then after an hour of being like that, then I'd be like, well, dang, no wonder I can't sleep. I'm tight and, you know, all of that. And I was a counselor. So long story short, the reason why that's coming up is if you know anything about what's going on with me right now, my dad had a stroke, and he had a couple of things happen. He had an aneurysm, which is a blood clot in the brain, you know, bleeding on the brain, and then that turned into, right behind that, he had a stroke, and then right after that, he had a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot in your lungs. And I was there when, he started to pass out and everything from that. So it's been a very traumatic type, experience for me. And my dad ended up becoming paralyzed on one side of his body. And so now I've moved into caretaker role. And I don't live with them. And I have 2 children and a husband and a business, and I homeschool. And my dad is disabled and live in a different home. My mom is also disabled, and she is taking care of him. And so I'm helping her take care of him, but I'm having to take care of her while she's taking care of him, and I'm also taking care of him. So it's a whole lot. And I noticed that the way that my body used to feel back when I was under all that stress from those other companies, I noticed that I could feel that in my body recently. That I noticed that every time the phone rang, I would have like an adrenaline rush, like preparing for the worst. Because the last couple of times the phone rang, it was your daddy's in the hospital, your daddy had a stroke, your daddy's not moving, so it's like traumatic. So the phone ring, I don't know what you calling for. Then it's, the phone is ringing because there's an argument. The phone is ringing because somebody in a fight. The phone is ringing because you got to de-escalate this problem. The phone is ringing because, somebody complaining about something and you playing peacemaker. The phone is ringing because somebody don't like something you said or did. And so now you got to work through that. And so that's, my phone been ringing, not just for business, not just for, let me work something out for the kids for school. The phone been ringing because of bull crap. The phone been ringing because of life. And so I noticed that whenever the phone would ring, my adrenaline would go up. And I'm like having a great day, everything's normal, and the phone rings and my adrenaline go up. The phone rings and my stomach drops. I started noticing that in my body. And the difference between now and 10 years ago, when I first was having all those types of issues, is that this time I have tools. I have the head to heart breath, which is a signature breathing technique that I created for Behind the Mask for my business. Signature breathing technique. I'm also a heart math instructor, certified, pay money, lots of money to be that. Heart Math is a world-renowned institute, 30 years of research on what heart coherence can do, being heart coherent and brain coherent. And I'm an instructor for that. I have life experience to go with it. And I promised myself back in the time when I was going through all that stuff, and then when everything kind of died down, everything changed in my life, and things got quieter and more calm, and I changed jobs and started doing my own thing, and da-da-da. I was like, I'm never, ever going to let myself get back there again. I promised myself I would never do that. And here I am, back there again. And so when I realized that a couple days ago, probably about 2 weeks ago, when I realized that, girl, here you are. You promised yourself you would never let yourself get that stressed out. And here you are, stressed out all over again. Stressed out, but this time you got 2 kids. This time you have a business. This time you have extra tools to help you not be so stressed. You know more. And yet, you on your way. You got the heart palpitations. You stressing every time the phone rings. You crying at the drop of a dime. So I guess the reason why I'm sharing this is when I realized that, I immediately felt defeated. I immediately felt like I lost. Then I felt like I lied to myself because I promised myself. I made a promise to myself that I would never let anything stress me out so bad that it would ruin the quality of my life. I would never let a string of circumstances take me out of my peace, because I teach and I know that your peace belongs to you and you can't be without it unless you give it away. And so, as awake as I thought I was, at what point did I give my peace away and I didn't know? And so with that conversation with myself also came me being pissed with myself. You did it again. You said you wasn't gonna do it and you did it again. So now I'm mad at me. And all of that is on top of actually having the stress. All of that is on top of actually having to deal with and work through the problems that are causing you to feel so stressed. And so now here I have anger and frustration toward myself for allowing myself to feel so stressed, even after I promised I would never let myself be stressed out like that anymore. And here I am. And so I had to move to a state of, after going through those feelings, I had to realize this is not, where is your self-compassion? Where's your compassion for yourself? Because that really, me feeling all those feelings on top of all the problem was not helping my situation. It was making things worse. For me to feel, now I'm ashamed and I'm guilty and I'm mad and I'm fussing at myself because I'm fussing at myself because I let things stress me out so bad. So I had to get back to remembering that I'm human. You're human. I don't care what promises you made to yourself. I don't care what promises other people made to you. I don't care how much you think you learned your lesson. You are human. And so I had to talk to me. I had to literally get in the mirror. Literally get in the mirror, which is what I teach. Get in the mirror and talk to myself. It is okay for you to feel your feelings. It is okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to feel ashamed that you did it again. It's okay to feel like you failed. It's okay that you are stressed out. I had to give myself permission. I had to stop long enough to feel what I was feeling, because I was avoiding feeling it because I wasn't supposed to be feeling it. So when I realized, oh, I'm stressing out, then I started to resist admitting that. I started to resist accepting the full reality of where I'm actually at. And then in that resistance, that's where the shame and the guilt was coming into place, because I'm not supposed to be this stressed out. I'm not supposed to be, right? I got all these tools. I got all this. I got all that. I'm leading groups of people. I'm leading children. I'm leading families. I'm building my business based off of that. And here you are, stressed out. But I had to remind myself that it's okay for you to feel what you're feeling. That it is not okay for you to be angry with yourself for feeling what you're feeling. And if you are, it's okay that you are. It's like, but I had to move to a place where I gave myself permission to see myself exactly where I'm at. Because when you're judging where you are, it's hard to accept it. Because now you're coming up with all these reasons as to why it's not quite like that, because you're judging it. I'm not supposed to be here. I shouldn't experience this. This shouldn't be happening to me. I should be able to handle this. This should not have right? And so because you're judging what it should be, then now you're also judging you for it not being that way. And so now you're kind of resisting accepting fully where you are. Or if you are accepting it, you're accepting it with judgment. So this means X, Y, and Z about myself. Because I failed at this, or because I didn't do as good of a job as I expect myself to do when it comes to this, then that must mean that I am, and fill in the blank, the judgment. I am a failure. I am not good enough. I'm not equipped. Which, I mean, is that going to help the situation to even think or feel that way? So it's like, yo, I'm cooking this food and I ain't even got the heat on. I just cut everything up. So that was my first thing I had to do, was first see myself for where I was at. But I couldn't see it if I didn't give myself permission to be it. It's like if I'm so busy trying not to be stressed, I'm so busy trying to have it together, I'm so busy trying to solve all the problems and have all the answers, and you know what I'm saying, then I'm so busy being a particular role, fulfilling a role that I think I'm supposed to fulfill. I'm so busy doing that I won't allow myself to be what I really am or feel what I really feel, because it's not in alignment with the role that I'm supposed to be in. You know what I'm saying? It's not in alignment with how I think I'm supposed to be showing up. So if it's not in alignment, then I'm not giving myself permission to be and feel that. I'm in a constant state of subconscious in the back of my mind resisting that this is what's happening. And I had to stop. I had to stop. And in order to stop, I had to be willing to accept where I'm at and see myself for where I'm at. And then once I saw what I saw, then the judgments that come with that, I had to remind myself, like, that doesn't, just because this is your experience does not sum up who you are. And so I just want to remind you, like, it doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter what you should have done and how it should have went down. That does not determine who you are. And yes, I mean, I guess in a way you can say that's how, you know, how you show up is who you are. But, you know, we are more than just how we show up. We are more than that. Sometimes you show up not based off of who you are, but you show up based off of your experiences. You show up based off of what all that you know. But see, who you are is something deeper than your experience. Right? Your experiences is what caused you to put on that mask. Put the mask on that helps you to get through life. Right? That role, that title that you're wearing in order to protect yourself. Your life experiences does that to you. That don't mean that's who you are. For many of us, that might be all we know about who we are. But that's the thing. It's like we're more than that. We're more than our life experiences. And so it's like you got to remind yourself that even though you fall short, that's not the sum of total of who you are. That's just an experience. It's just an experience. And when we are constantly judging and then by default resisting the reality of where we stand in the moment, then we're not ever in a position. See, if you look at this like GPS, if you're constantly denying where you truly are, then you're never in a position to make it to where you really want to go. You're never really in a position to make changes that actually make you feel better. Because you won't see your real position. You won't allow yourself to really see the real position that you're in. And so if you are ignoring that or hiding that or avoiding that, then that means you're never in position to shift and make changes. But you'll always be in position to stay where you are. You know what I'm saying? So I had to see it. But in order to see it, I had to be willing to accept whatever I saw. And then in order to accept whatever I saw, I had to be willing to not judge what I was seeing. And then when I judged what I was seeing, I had to remind myself that's okay. That's just a program, but you gotta let that go. Let the judgment go. God dog it, you human. You are human. Life is happening. So I want to encourage you in my time of need. You're human. Life is happening, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that you fell short. It's okay you don't have all the answers. It's okay that you freaked out. It's okay. It's okay that you're stressed. It's okay to accept where you are. Because accepting where you are does not mean that's who you are. It's just where you are. It's just where you are. Who you are is behind that mask. Who you are is what you're trying to protect. And you don't even know it sometimes. So that was a big thing for me, because I got upset with myself that I was experiencing this type of stress again. And even though I promised myself that I would never do it, and I feel like I'm more equipped now than ever to make sure that I don't experience that type of stress. And it was happening anyway. So I guess where I'm at now is stress is still happening, but now I'm remembering to use the tools that I have. That you're not going to change unless you actually change. That is not a figure of speech. Oh, it's hot. That's not a figure of speech. Like, you actually are going to have to do something different if you want to experience something different. And that can be really tough. That can be really tough because we're such creatures of habit. And if you're not staying aware, then you will fall into the habit without realizing that you're falling into the habit. And really the only way to truly see if I've fallen into the habit is looking at the results. Do I have the results that I want? And if I don't have the results that I want, then now I need to slow down long enough to really see what has been happening and own it without shame, without judgment. So that way I can truly own it. Then that puts me in a position to be able to make whatever shifts that need to be made. Have you ever tried to help somebody that don't want to be helped? You know what I'm saying? Like, and what does it mean to want to be helped? Like, how does it look to want to be helped? How does it look when you're helping somebody that wants to be helped versus helping somebody that don't want to be helped? What's the difference in that interaction? What's the difference in how that looks? A person that wants to be helped is going to listen to what you have to say. It doesn't mean that they're going to do everything you said, but they're not going to be fighting you. They're going to hear it. They're going to be open enough to hear this new perspective. What about when you're dealing with somebody who don't want to be helped? Are they listening to anything you're talking about? Are they open to what you're saying? No, they're not. They're not open. They're not willing. And you could be just as right as ever. You could have all the answers for what they're going through. But where do you start? You start by helping them to see where they are. And then you tell them about the path to where you know they want to go. And if they're not willing to see where they are, if they're not willing to take ownership for where they are, then they can't walk the path to where, right to the solution. So it's like with myself and with ourselves, we got to make sure we do that. And so we look at the results in our life as an indication of what habits have we been having. And you may not recognize all your habits, but your results show you whether or not your habits are the habits that you need to keep having. And if you're not having the results, then there's some shifts that need to be made. And many times we have the actual answer to the shifts that need to be made. We might not have all the answers, but we have an answer. We have a shift that we can make. I promise you, I do not have all the answers to the issues that I am currently faced with. I do not have all the answers to caregiving and how to balance that between my life, raising my children, with my husband, having a business that is being run physically hands-on by me, and my husband, by having my 2 children of 2 different ages in 2 different grades that I homeschool, of managing the disabilities in my parents' home, the doctor's appointments, the advocating, right? You know, the other things that have gone on as a result of the position that they're in, other family issues and family drama that's going on. And I am a person that is trying to make sense of what's happening, not just in my personal household, but in my mother's household. And it's a lot going on. I don't have the answers. But what I do have is an answer. I have a tweak that I know that I can make that's different from what I've been doing. And see, what Spirit is saying, and I just keep being shown that the map, I keep being shown, I'm sweating with the glasses on. I keep being shown this GPS, this map. And what Spirit is showing me is that no, you may not have all the answers, but you have an answer. And when you take a step in that direction of that answer, then that is what repositions your complete outlook, your complete perspective shift. Now you're standing in a different spot. Even though nothing else has changed about your situation, you are now in a different spot. And because of that, you can see things that you could not see when you were standing over here. And so standing in one space and trying to map out exactly how to get from here to there may be impossible. And that is the resistance that you're feeling, is the impossibility of that. And yeah, you might be right that it is impossible, but it's only impossible because of where you're standing. And so instead of standing here saying, I don't see the full way, go with the one thing that you feel led to do. Go with the one thing that is calling you. Go with the one thing that you know the answer to. The one thing. And when you take a step in the direction of that one thing, then the next thing will make itself clear. And that is the trust that you have to have. But guess what? You don't have to trust it, because you are already experiencing it. You are already a product of that. You are already a testimony of that. You are already a testimony of not having all the answers, but taking a move, making a step, and then things start to work themselves out. That has already happened in your life. And I don't have to know you to know that that is true. And the reason why I can say that and say that with such conviction is because you're here. And you are not here because you had all the answers. You're here because certain things worked out for you, regardless of what you believe. Certain things just worked out for you. And so taking a step puts you in a position where you can see things that you could not see before. And so if you just trust your next step, if you can just trust yourself to take the next step, period. And that's where I'm at. I don't have multiple answers beyond this next step. It is simply just too much. It's too much for me to handle. Hey, Meg. Oh, I love you, Meg. It's simply too much for me to try to figure out. It's just so much that I just don't know. It's so many things I don't have the answer to. It's so many aspects of what I'm experiencing that I am just new to and I'm foreign to it. So either I can crush under the weight of that and stand where I am and say there's no possible way. Or I can take the one thing that continues to present itself to me and I can focus on that. I can do that and just let that be that for now. And accept everything else the way that it is and stop trying to figure out everything else and just let my now be my now. And what is it that I can do from now? And guess what my thing is? I'm going to shut the fuck down. I'm shutting everything down. Now, as much as I would really like to shut it all down, I mean, I can't shut down having children. I can't shut down making money, having to work to make money. I can't shut down my dad. Hey, Dad, for the next 2 weeks, you're not paralyzed. Mom, for the next 2 weeks, you don't have a disability and you can do it all by yourself. So, right? So I can't shut down life. But what I can do is shut down thinking. I can shut down trying to figure it out. I can shut down all my expectations of how I should be and where I should be and how it should look and what they should do and how they should show up and why I should get more help than what I'm getting from these people that should be helping me out, because these are not just my family, my parents, right? I can shut that down. I can and I can breathe. And I can just be present right now, in my right now. And sometimes that's all you got. Sometimes that's all you can do. Sometimes you don't have any other answers beyond now, beyond this moment. And if that's the case, then now is the time to stop thinking about it. Now is the time to breathe, and you might only have 30 seconds. But if you make that 30 seconds intentional, it is powerful, because that is simply how powerful we are. And I keep being brought back to the synchronistic divinity of all things. This don't have nothing to do with your religion. It doesn't have nothing to do with none of that. It's just the reality of our existence. You don't have to believe in nothing to breathe the freaking air. You don't have to believe in nothing for your heart to beat or your food to digest. Or for when you cut yourself, for your body to heal itself. You don't have to have a belief system for that. It's just going to happen. And so that's what I'm speaking of, is the divinity that we are all a part of. This synchronicity that we are all a part of. The way things work together without us trying. Maybe that's the answer for some of us, is to stop trying so much. Not give up, but stop trying. maybe that sounds the same to somebody. But that's fine if it sounds the same. Whatever gets you there. Maybe slow down. Maybe just wait. Maybe just breathe. And then what happens when we stop trying to make and push and fold and slice and pierce through? And maybe when we stop trying, that's what I mean, right? Maybe when we stop trying to make it be, this square peg is going into this round hole because it's the only two things I got. I got a square peg and I got a round hole, and it has to go together, because why else would I have it? Sometimes we kind of get stuck. I do. Sometimes we get stuck, in that. And if you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, just breathe for a minute. Then maybe in that situation, when you stop to breathe for a minute, you say, you know what? I'm going to get up from this chair. I'm going to go in the other room. And I'm going to stop trying to fit this square peg into this round hole. I'm going to get up and go in the other room, and I'm just going to breathe for a minute. I'm just going to slow everything down and just kind of just regulate. You go do that. And you come back. And lo and behold, in the chair was a round peg. And you were sitting on a round peg the whole time. That's what Spirit is showing me. You sitting on it already. You're sitting on your next step. You're sitting on your solution. You're sitting on your relief. You're sitting on your rescue. You're sitting on it. You're sitting on it. Thank you, Spirit. You're sitting on it, right? It's like it works together if you take that next step. If you take that next step, and that next step is not always an action of partying and making it happen and we're going to do this, we're going to make. Sometimes the next step is surrender. Sometimes the next step is releasing and allowing, right? And so when we can meditate, when we can sit in silence, when we can hum, that, I'm not talking about pulling on nobody's religion. You don't have to become a monk. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about really, truly doing something to try to redirect your focus away from everything that is dispersed upon in your life. All the things that you're focusing on and making happen. If you could just back it up a little bit, and sometimes humming works, sometimes music works, sometimes a bell works. So, right? So if we can do that, then in that space, revelations come. Others might call it ideas. But ideas come. Aha moments happen. Things work themselves out. And it might not happen right then. It might not happen right then. You're not doing it for that to happen. You're not doing it to get the answers. You're doing it to stop. You're doing it to allow yourself to be in flow. That is, remember I started talking about the divine synchronistic flow of all things. When we're so busy trying to push and make things happen, then we're not in flow, we're in push. If you don't think about it, you will breathe at a rate that keeps your body functioning and keeps you alive. But you can change that. You can stop breathing by choice right now. And what will happen if you never let go and allow yourself to fall into the natural rhythm that is already there for you, then you will die. You see what I'm saying? Thank you, Spirit. You see what I'm saying? That you have a breath that's breathing you already. But you also have your own decisions that you can make, your own choices that you can make that shifts what's happening for you right now. And so you're breathing right now, but you could choose to stop. You could choose to hold your breath. And if you do that long enough, then your circumstances will change. But you don't even have to be conscious to breathe, because it's already happening. It is that divine synchronicity that you are already a part of. And so what Spirit showed me a long time ago is that if we began to be more like that, right, trusting of our breath to breathe when it's time to breathe, and trusting of our body to do what needs to be done with that breath for us to live, we trust that. And so Spirit showed me a while ago that if we can start to do that with our everyday lives, with like the more physical, tangible decisions that we must make in our everyday lives, we're so used to not doing that it doesn't make sense to us to do that. We don't see a logical way to surrender our daily choices. But there's a book called The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. It's available on Amazon. I read it first through Audible. But that book is about a man, Michael Singer, who did just that. Surrendered his daily active life. And it did not look like dormancy. It didn't look like, I don't do nothing. It looked like him allowing opportunities and situations to come up, and him of deciding to not resist and to go with the flow. That was how he chose to do it. And his life in that book was just as an amazing testimony of the divine synchronistic flow of all things. That's when it really clicked for me. I saw it in that book that this man and his life, the way it worked, the way that these synchronicities would happen, the way that one thing led to another was just too much of it was too specific for it to be an accident. But his life and how it was happening was him surrendering. And in that surrender, his life became an experiment of what happens when you truly surrender your daily life. And he was not surrendering to God or to a religion. Like, he wasn't there. So it wasn't even about that for him. And that's what I learned in that book. And it just matches perfectly with what I already felt in my own spirit. What I already felt like was being revealed to me. That this divine synchronistic flow that we are naturally a part of by being on this planet. We're a part of it with the ecosystem, right? The way nature works, the way the moon and the cycles and the planets and the orbits and all of that, it's a divine synchronistic flow. If one thing is off, it can mess up everything. So how did it get to be so perfect and so divinely synchronized? Now that is a question that scholars and philosophers answer all the time. And the answers end up being religions and they end up being philosophies, right? But the point is, whether you are searching for that answer does not negate the results. The results is we are part of something that is divinely synchronized. And so our lives, our everyday lives, can also be divinely synchronized simply by us choosing to go with the flow instead of resisting it. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Well, I didn't plan to come up here and say all of that. Well, there we have it then, right? There we have it. That's my next step. My next step is going to be to breathe. You know, I'm going to actually meditate. I was doing some humming the other day with my son, my 9-year-old, and he couldn't sleep that well that night. He was just struggling with being sleepy. And so I did some humming with him to try to calm his thoughts, because he's just thinking about this and thinking about that. And Mama, what about this? And Mama, what about that? And we could do this tomorrow. So his mind was still on 1,000 from his day. And so I needed to help him to calm it on down. And so we hummed. We breathed and hummed. Took a deep breath in. And I told him, hum on your way out. And what I did, we kept doing that. And I took him through feeling the different ways that the hum feels in his body. So now take another deep breath, Aiden. And this time, I want you to feel the vibration of the hum, like right here, right above your nose. What does that feel like? So we hummed, and I just took him on an exploration around his head and with the hum. By the end of it, we explored if you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and close your lips, how does the hum feel then? How does the hum feel when you close your throat? How does the hum feel when your throat is open but your lips are sealed? How does the hum feel if your mouth is open? How does the hum feel in your ears? And by the time we did all of that, he had breathed like 50 times. But we had explored through experiencing the oneness with ourselves, right? Just being in that space with ourselves. Yeah. We were in that space with ourselves, just exploring, how do I feel? And that stopped him and myself from thinking all the things we were thinking. It put us in a position to really just focus on the self. After it was over, I felt better because I was stressed. I felt better, and he went to sleep like a baby. Simply because we just slowed down. That's it. We just slowed down. Slowed down to breathe and hum. And how do I feel when I hum like this? And that was enough to solve both of our problems for the night. So that's what I'm going to do. But also in the process of sharing this with you all, you know, I got the reminder that I don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to have all the answers. We are already divinely synchronized with the same force of nature, the same force that causes your heart to beat and your lungs to breathe you. We are divinely synchronized with that. And if we can be brave enough to trust what we already see that we're a part of, I believe that just like Michael Singer, things will work itself out. The things that we're stressing over will end up working themselves out. Whew. So, I love you. What I'm doing right now, as far as business, I am working in the community. I am in Virginia, in Hampton Roads, and I work hands-on with children, adults, and families, teaching them self-mastery, putting them in experiences that causes them to experience some of the things that they're working on, right? For example, we take them fishing, but we take them fishing as a family event. I mean, we've done it with just kids, but the fishing is a family event. And the purpose of it is to experience mindfulness as a family, to experience what nature can do for us when we allow ourselves to just sit and be in it, to experience mindful conversations with your children. What is it like to be intentional with the conversations you have with your children? What is it that you can learn from your children and your children can learn from you, simply because you're not having the same old conversations that you have day in and day out just to get through the work week? What happens when we're intentional about that? And so that is an experience. And so families that come out and do that with us, they have their own unique experiences based off of what their family needs and where their family is in that moment. But we at Behind the Mask, we facilitate that experience and we help assist you in doing that work. And we support you in that, and you're doing it with other families who want to experience that as well. So that's an example. So that's what I mean, experiential. So we do experiential activities and events for children, adults, and families, to not just teach you about self-mastery, but to have you exercise that. So this fishing was just an example of an activity we do with families. We also work primarily with nonprofits and organizations that see the value in the work that we offer and want us to come in to work with their group of children. And that's what I like to do the most, because I get to have the most impact, where I just come into a group that's already established and we get to work. And so we do a lot of team building activities, and everything is based in self-mastery. That relationship that you have with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever have with anyone. And it is the relationship that determines the relationship you have with everyone else in your life. It's that one which you have with yourself. That relationship with yourself determines everything else. And so that's what self-mastery essentially is about, is mastering certain pillars of yourself. And so everything that we do is based in that and involves our pillars. And ultimately, the person that's learning just knows that they're having a good time and they walk away with a different experience of themselves. So just wanted to make sure you knew that, if you didn't know that about who we are. My website is AprilJett.com, which is my name, AprilJett, JETT.com. There you can learn more about who we are and what we do and how we do it and who we work with and how to get in contact with us if you are interested in having us to come to any of the organizations that you are working with. If you would like to have us come out, I also do speaking workshops where I work with adults, professionals, with shifting their perception, helping them to truly see the power that they have within themselves and how that translates to the workplace, how it translates to if you work with children, how that translates to working with children. If you are a group of parents, how does this translate to you working with parents? And so I have some core teachings that I teach to adults that and show them how to translate that into whatever area of their life that this group is coming from. So I'm open to that as well. And all of it, you can reach me at apriljet.com in order to reach out to me. My email is hello@apriljet.com. What else? I do also do online things for adults. I kind of slowed it down because things with my parents, right? We talked about that. So I gotta pick and choose how I show up. But I'm looking to get back into doing that because as you can see, you know, when I'm sharing the lessons that I'm learning and the things that as I grow, I share with my community. And this is a commitment I made a long time ago. So if you've been following me, then you know that much. As I grow, I am committed to sharing what I'm learning fresh, not several years later. I do share things from several years ago, but I share what I'm experiencing now and what I'm learning now in that process. Because in life, I've felt alone. And I don't want anybody to ever feel alone again. So I've been led to share as I grow, so that way others who are growing too cannot feel alone in that growth process, and that you can have someone that's walking with you but is also sharing with you, this is what is working for me, this is what is working for the people that's working with me, try this. Anyway, so that's who I am, April Jett, the bondage breaker, your soul transformation facilitator. I love you. Reach out. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.